On a cold night in January 2009, a wealthy businessman radioed air traffic control and said his plane's windshield had exploded while he was flying it. Minutes later, he jumped out. This is Darren's Case Files. In early 2009, Marcus Schrenker looked successful. 38 years old, financial advisor, large Indiana home, private pilot's license. He owned a sleek Piper PA-46 Malibu, a plane that signaled wealth without saying a word. From the outside, he was thriving. Behind the scenes, though, clients were accusing him of steering them into risky investments. Regulators caught wind of this and they were circling. Civil lawsuits were forming. And investigators would later say he was running out of options. On January 11, 2009, Schrenker took off from Indiana, supposedly heading towards Florida. Mid-flight, he radioed air traffic control. He said his windshield had shattered, that he was bleeding, that he was losing control of the aircraft. Controllers treated it as life or death. But something was strange. His voice was calm. Instead of descending for an emergency landing, the aircraft maintained altitude, because what controllers didn't know was that autopilot had been engaged. Then he opened the cabin door and he jumped. Schrenker parachuted safely into Alabama. The plane, pilotless, continued flying for nearly 4 more hours. Eventually, it ran out of fuel and crash landed in a Florida swamp. Is that a thing? Was that not dangerous? Search teams rushed to the wreckage expecting tragedy. Instead, the cockpit was empty. No pilot, no body, no blood matching a catastrophic windshield failure, just an aircraft sitting silently in marshland. Here's what most people don't realize. Faking your own death usually fails because of physics. Investigators don't just look at what someone says happened, they look at whether the physical evidence agrees. So in this case, with no biological evidence consistent with catastrophic injury, no blood supporting the shattered windshield story, the flight data showed steady autopilot control, not erratic emergency descent, no impact trauma consistent with a pilot dying at the control. The narrative didn't match the science, and that's what exposed it. After landing by parachute near Harpersville, Alabama, Schrenker didn't call for help. He'd staged a motorcycle nearby in advance. He changed clothes and he rode south. But he made mistakes. He used his cell phone. There were digital records, credit card traces, movement patterns. 2 days later, on January 13th, deputies located him at a campground near Quincy in Florida. When officers approached, they discovered he had attempted to harm himself. He was treated at the hospital, then arrested. The man, presumed dead in a plane crash, was sitting in custody alive. Instead of disappearing into mystery, Schrenker faced federal charges. In 2010, he was sentenced to 51 months in federal prison for interfering with the operation of an aircraft. Separately, he pleaded guilty to securities fraud charges in Indiana. He received a 10-year state prison sentence for misleading investors. The man who risked everything to avoid consequences added years to them. Most staged disappearances are quiet. A boat found empty, car near a cliff, a note left behind. Marcus Schrenker staged an aviation disaster. He triggered a multi-state search, emergency responders, national headlines. But when investigators opened the cockpit and saw it was empty, the mystery wasn't how he died, it was why he jumped. And in the end, he didn't escape the crash, he just delayed the landing. Until next time.